Oh, wait.
Oh, there we go.
There, that's better.
Okay.
Hi, class. It's Tiffany. I'm here with my sister, Cassie. Say hi, Cassie.
Hi.
And today I'm going to be conducting an interview with her about us growing up with an alcoholic mom. Cassie has dealt with it a little bit more than I have. When I was younger, our mom had more of a pill addiction than she did with the alcoholism. And the alcoholism has only, went up for the past couple of years. So we're going to start off with some questions with Cassie, and she's going to get, deep down to how it's affected her, over the years. And we're going to start off with Cassie telling us a little bit about herself.
Okay, well, hi, I'm Cassie, as you know. I currently go to a private college in Columbus called Bradford. I'm majoring in graphic design at the moment, although I'm not really fond of it. But I only have until December, so that's not as bad. I'm 18 at the moment, but here in a short few weeks, I will be 19.
Is that about it? Is that about cover? Gives you a general idea. We are 12 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 12 years apart. We share the same mom, but we have different dads. We have completely different personalities. She is very reserved, and I'm, as you guys will know, the crazy, outspoken, never shuts up kind of person. Therefore, we're very opposites. But like I said before, she's had more effects of the alcoholism than I have. And we're going to go through some questions to kind of dig deeper into some of the effects it has had on her. And you'll get a one-on-one experience on how she feels. And it's more of a personalized issue. So first, let's start off with the first question. So the first question is do you suffer from any other problems because of mom's alcoholism?
As a matter of fact, I do. I have really bad anxiety to the point where I shake, my face turns red. Like, for example, when I go into Walmart, usually, it could be any store, but for example, Walmart, when there's a lot of people in one spot, or in general, mostly if there's a lot of people in one aisle, I'll freak out and run to the next aisle, or, go behind whoever I'm shopping with. And
just more or less to try to get away from.
Yeah, get away from all of it.
You start feeling like claustrophobic with the people around you.
I will shake and my face turns red and I can't handle it and I'll freak out. Or the one that brings out the most anxiety is when I'm in college. By law, we have to have a fire drill every month. And since it's I don't know when this is going to happen. That's the panic. As soon as the alarm goes off, I start shaking uncontrollably. The fire alarm is obviously loud, and it's actually gotten to the point where I almost trip down the stairs and fall because I'm shaking so bad I can't hold up my own weight, or I can't breathe. I literally start hyperventilating. And the very first fire drill, my roommate actually asked if I was okay, and then the dorm advisor, the one who does pull the alarm, asked if I was okay too. And it's very hard to deal with. And I don't usually talk about all this because I feel like I'm attention-seeking, but I'm not trying to be.
And she's never been diagnosed with any kind of, anxiety disorders directly related to why mom is the way she is. She doesn't take any medication for it, and I think she's also had a hard time communicating it with, her primary pediatrician at the time, and it's really hard because mom always goes into the appointments with her, so for her to be able to fully express herself, emotionally, it's very difficult because she is in the room. But that's just mostly about your anxiety. But go ahead, you can say the other things.
I also suffer with depression pretty bad, although it's not as bad as it once was, but there will be days where it's pretty bad to deal with. 1 minute I'll be as happy as I can be, and then 5 seconds later, I all of a sudden just get into a really bad mood, and I just get really sad, and all I want to do is sleep for 5 days straight. Or I could wake up in a really, really bad mood, and it just carries out through the whole entire day, and it's, really hard to deal with, but it's not as bad as it used to be. I mean, I used to lock myself in a room for 18 plus hours a day and not even come out, and
it has. It's gotten better.
Yeah. I did actually ask for help. I didn't want to at first, but then I knew I needed help. And I went to see a psychiatrist for about 4 times, and she recommended antidepressants. And since I was 17 at the time, my parents had to sign off on it. She told me I didn't have to be put on, and I could still see her, which is what I wanted. But both of my parents freaked out, especially my mom mostly, and she said I couldn't go see her anymore. And that really has affected me. I mean, I think about her all the time, and I still wish I could see somebody because I think in the long run it could benefit me. Um,
But now that she's 19 and she's 18, I'm sorry, she's fully an adult, so she has the opportunity to make those decisions herself. But it is very hard for you to take those steps of being independent because you have a crutch with mom because mom has made so many decisions for her in the past. She's cooked her food, done her laundry, done motherly things, but unfortunately she's took it to the other level of more or less coddling you, almost like crippling her to keep her in her life, to always have Cassie with her. And I think you know that.
Yeah.
Because then I think that's where your anxiety stems from because you're, introducing new things in your life sometimes scares you to where you're paralyzed and doesn't really know how to react to them. That's good. That's really good. I'm proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. Okay, so Cassie's going to explain this thing that she's believed in for many years, and it's called being straight-edged, and she's going to explain why she believes in it and why she is that way. Go ahead, hon.
Okay, so basically a straight edge person is someone who doesn't drink, do any kind of drug, not even smoke cigarettes or smoke weed. And I've also read that it involves, not having any kind of sexual relations with anybody.
Can you, are you talking like sexual relations like with just like another man or onto yourself or just no intimate relationships with another
just no
human
intimate
being?
relationships with no other human being.
Okay.
I feel this way. I feel like I'm an oddball because most people who, grow up in an alcohol-related home or a drug-infested home usually turn to that stuff and end up doing it themselves. But I'm the complete opposite. I've never drank anything. I've never smoked anything.
She does no peer pressure. You can peer pressure her till you're blue in the face, and she will, at that point, she'll get really upset with you.
Yeah.
And then she gives you, not saying it in a bad way, a lecture on why you are straight-edged.
Peer pressure doesn't work with me. Many people have tried. And it
which is great.
Yeah. I just believe because I've seen my mom, what the things that she's gone through and how it's affected all of us, there's no point in me doing it. I mean, I know a simple, drink for, family tradition or something, or, a party or whatever.
Social drinking.
Yeah, that is okay, but in my eyes, it's not. I mean, it's okay for other people, but me, if I try it, I will probably cry until the end of time.
Or have an anxiety attack.
That will more than likely happen, and there's no point for me to do it.
Because that stems from witnessing her drink for so many years?
Because I'm afraid if I do it, I'm going to end up just like her. Even with one drink, I feel like I'm going to go into an alcoholism oblivion or whatever. And like I said, I know how it affects people, and I don't want to put that burden on anybody else. And so I just don't do it.
And she's been like this for many years, so it's not like it's something that's just recently come about. She's just believed in it for a really long time and has fully seen it through and still believes in it. And she doesn't have any prejudice against, as, many of you know, I smoke cigarettes. And, I do socially drink from time to time. And she doesn't look down upon me or anybody else that practices it. But, with the abuse that is shown from our mom, that's when it gets kind of out of hand, as it should. Okay, so here's a big question, and I'm sure she's just going to love to talk about this because it's been in her beautiful life for so many years. Cassie, can you tell my class what ways you use to cope with the alcoholism from her?
Okay,
We're laughing because she could talk for 30 straight minutes without taking a breath about the subject. Go ahead.
Okay, well, like I said, most people who live with, an alcohol-related family or, drugs in general or whatever, they usually take that abuse and they do it themselves. To cope with things, well, I learned to cope with music. And I know a lot of people, have music that inspire them and they love music, but in my opinion, music has influenced me in ways that nobody can understand. Sometimes I feel like even musicians can't understand it, which is absurd because they're musicians themselves. But it's just, that's how much music has influenced me. I changed my favorite band, like I change underwear. But the band that is currently my favorite and has been for almost 2 years now, actually, they're a band called We Came as Romans. And I've been a fan of them for 6+ years now, but I really didn't start getting big into them until last year.
Sorry,
Okay.
technical difficulty.
Um,
You were saying that you liked They Came as Romans.
Yes, their lyrics really, really have affected me the most in my life, even with all of my other favorite bands. They've influenced me. They're a band, and obviously, but they're a band that has positive lyrics, and they're a band full of positivity and hope, and, you know, they've experienced a lot of things, and they know how, you know, their fans feel, and they want to do anything in the world to help their fans. And I actually did meet them, and they were really nice. And I told their bass player, Andy Glass, that his band, well, their band was my whole life, and he got red in the face and smiled and said, "Oh, thank you, it means a lot." And that is one of the biggest opportunities that I've ever gotten, is to meet my favorite band and thank them and give them a letter of how much they've influenced me, which I did write to them about my mother being an alcoholic and how bad it has gotten, and how their lyrics have, you know, stopped me from, you know, I don't know, being sad and stuff. One of my favorite lyrics from them is I Won't Fade Away. It's one of the songs that I really, really go to, and a lot of the people in my life have, you know, been my friend, but then they just disappear. They stop talking to me, or we just stop talking in general. But I know that when I start feeling alone, I always go to that song and realize that they won't fade away, and they won't stop being my friend, and their music will always be there for me. And that's one of the biggest bands. Another big band is The Color Morale, and because of... I'm sorry.
30 straight minutes.
I'm trying to not...
You're fine. No.
Another band that, because of We Came as Romans, I have discovered is a band called The Color Morale. And their lyrics have really affected me, too. I'm drawing a blank at the moment. I can't really think of any of their lyrics. But anyways, that's not the point. Yeah, they, that's what I'm trying to get. Okay, their singer,
we got it.
Garrett Rapp, has gone through a lot. His father was, not a good father at all. He was never in Garrett's life, but when he was, he sexually abused Garrett, and he had an alcohol problem and a drug problem. And because of that, Garrett had, he gained a lot of weight. He was really chubby, but then he went from that to being completely bulimic. And he would cut everywhere on his body, and because of that, he took pills, and he developed a drinking problem. But then he discovered music, and he realized that he had a passion for singing, and that was what helped him cope with all of it, and all of his problems was through music. And because of all of this, I'm hoping someday to pursue some kind of field in music, whether it be actually forming a band, or maybe become a graphic designer for a band, or, you know, something to do with music, but I'm finding a way to do it and dedicating it to my life, because it is what has helped me get through all of this.
And while she's doing that, she's going to face her anxiety, because then she's going to meet new people. She's going to have to shake their hands.
Yeah.
And say hello.
That's a big thing. I'm very awkward. I mean, you could literally come up and say hi to me, and I'd tell you happy birthday, because I don't know how to respond.
And I embarrass her at every given moment that's humanly possible. You're doing great.
Yay.
You know that, right?
Yeah. I'm so really nervous.
Yeah, I don't know why she's doing it. She's really good. Okay. So last question, and then we'll wrap it up, because we're at almost 14 minutes.
Okay.
Just FYI. Okay. Who has been your support team? So most people, they turn to their mom, or they turn to their dad. And in our circumstance, you know, that has been true to a certain extent, but there's been some major supportive people in both of our lives. But who mostly for you?
Mostly Tiffany, my sister.
She's lying.
I'm seriously not.
Because I'm sitting next to her.
No.
If it was the dog, she'd say the dog.
No.
Okay.
I'm really not lying. I remember this one summer in particular, when I was going through my depression at first, Tiffany was the one that I went to.
Is this the iPod thing?
Yes.
Or taking your cell phone away?
Well, I wasn't going to mention that, but...
You don't have to. It's already gone. It's already said and in the past. Keep going.
Hey, well...
The summer?
Yeah. I turned to Tiffany for most of my depression, because I didn't know who else to turn to. I knew I couldn't turn to my mother, because she would tell everybody in this world. I wasn't very comfortable telling my dad, because I didn't know how he'd react.
Our mom, sorry not to interrupt you, but our mom always kind of like turns it around and makes it about herself.
Mm-hmm.
she'll always, make it seem like the story is directly about her, which it is in a sense, but she don't let us, or even her mostly. I have no problem expressing myself. She, on the other hand, doesn't. So she always tries to make the story more about her, and then in return loses focus with Cassie to be able to get some of the things out. And when you can't get them out, they just keep bubbling up, and that's kind of what that summer was all about.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to talk about me anymore. I was talking about somebody else that has supported you.
Okay. Another person that has supported me is my grandma. I actually, for like 6 months straight, we have an upstairs and a downstairs, and I came and lived with my grandma downstairs because at the time I couldn't take any more of my mother. We were fighting every day. I would literally get out of bed, and 5 minutes later, she'd be screaming at the top of her lungs for absolutely no reason. And I mean the dumbest things, and it took a toll on me, and I feel that's what caused most of my depression. And I knew in order for me to become more happier, I'd have to get away from her. Unfortunately, I don't drive because of my anxiety, but I knew the only way to get away from her was to come downstairs, and I did.
Our grandma's been a really good support system with helping us draw out the happiness and, trying to really suppress the depression because she's been through a lot, and, you have to raise yourself up. Nobody else is going to do it for you. So she's taught us in a lot of ways on how to do that. Mm-hmm. So we're very fortunate for her to help us along with the way. I think we got to wrap it up.
Well,
is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, the last person is my dad.
Oh, sorry.
I can't forget my dad. Even though I don't feel comfortable talking to him about most things, he's still there to, make me laugh and smile. And my dad and I are very, very, very close. I like to call myself a daddy's girl, but in a good way. I don't know, he just makes me laugh and tells me stupid jokes, and I know I can go to him with anything. He tells me that almost every day, and so I know if I ever need somebody, I could turn to my dad. And I know I eventually will. It's just going to have to take a while for me to open up, but I know I will.
And she'll get there. With me, I can, unfortunately, take it or leave my mom, unfortunately. But that's, I'm 30 years old, and that's where I'm at in my life. That's because I started my life and my family. Cassie, on the other hand, has more of a crutch with her still. As much as it, drives you insane, she's still able to push it down and still need to talk to her every day. And
I have more of a tolerance for her, and
I don't,
because I had such an attachment to her as a child, and even though I've broken off some of that attachment, I'll always have a part of me that will always be attached to her no matter what. And it bothers me on a daily basis. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think of our mother and how I wish she could be a different person, and how I wish she could get the help she in my eyes deserves, because I know she can be a better person, but she just doesn't want to.
Cassie's never seen our mom. She's never seen her sober.
Never. And it bothers me on a daily basis.
I have. Like I said, I was 12 years old when Cassie was born, so of course she didn't drink while, she was pregnant with Cassie, so I got to see it. And there's other people in our family that have seen it. But Cassie, unfortunately, is the only one that has not seen it.
And I never will. I've come to accept that somewhat.
And our mom's to the point now where if she stops drinking tonight and doesn't drink for 24 hours, she will immediately have to be direct admitted and get fluids, or she will die. But that's a little sneak peek into our life. Sorry it ran a little long, but it was a really good thing. Kind of opens, it's more of a personalization through everyone in the classroom. And something from her. Mm-hmm. I hope you enjoyed expressing yourself.
I did. It was nice to
and being honest. Yep. So, this is Tiffany.
And I'm Kathy.
And we're going to leave you for the day. Bye.
Bye.
I'm so proud of you.